The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver is about the Price family. The father, Nathan Price, is a pastor. The entire family, which includes 4 girls, the mother, and the father, go on a missionary trip to Africa's Congo. The life in this region is extremely hard. There is minimal food and supplies. There are no medical doctors nearby. Nathan is overzealous about saving souls for Christ. He was unfamiliar with the culture in the Congo, so he was unsuccessful in connecting with the people. Not only did he not relate to the people, he also didn't relate to his family. He didn't care for his family in the way a decent human being would have. His family suffered, and he was blinded to their plight since he was so focused on preaching to people who didn't listen or listen to or respect him. The daughters had a host of problems, particularly the one who suffered from hemiplegia. The Poisonwood Bible was a bestseller a long time ago, and I highly recommend it. One thing about the character, one of the main characters, Nathan, the pastor, since I write inspirationals, this isn't an inspirational book, but they do talk a lot about God and the church. The pastor didn't seem to be familiar with the culture, as I've already mentioned, for the people in the Congo. And Nathan and his family were just a few, practically the only white people within the small village in which they lived in the Congo. I guess Nathan was just so hard-headed that he didn't think to take time to research the culture in that region. Because if he had been familiar with such culture, then his preaching of the gospel may have been more successful, because he seemed to be puzzled by the way the people lived, and he was just so focused on baptizing the children and the adults in the river. But most of the people did not want to be baptized. The reason why? There were crocodiles in the river, and they didn't want to get bitten. So Nathan just seems to ignore that, and that's highly disturbing. So the Poisonwood Bible has had tons of reviews, and it's an old book, and like I said, it was a bestseller. As with all of my videos, when I talk about another author's book, I must mention my own. Since the Poisonwood Bible is a historical, I wanted to tell you about my 2 historical novels. We have The Baker's Bride. The Baker's Bride is the story about Ruth. She's a manumitted slave, and she travels to Philadelphia to make a new life for herself. She gets a job baking bread at a bakery, which is owned by Joseph and his mom. Joseph works on the Underground Railroad movement. His mom does not accept Ruth because she's a manumitted slave, and both her and her son are of the black upper class of Philadelphia, and she wants a well-bred woman for her son. So that's the conflict in The Baker's Bride. Since it takes place during the abolitionist movement, and it's a perfect book to read during Black History Month or anytime you want to learn more about African American history. The Doctor's Bride is my other historical. The Doctor's Bride is the story about Deborah. Deborah was in love with Timothy years ago, but he married her twin sister Eve instead. Now Deborah is a school teacher, and widower Timothy is back as the town's doctor. As he helps her to study for a college entrance exam, her feelings for him are rekindled. Will Timothy return her affections? And The Doctor's Bride takes place during the year of 1870 in Pennsylvania. And the third book that I'm currently working on right now is The Blacksmith's Bride. So check them out. All three will, both of these books are great. And like I said, The Blacksmith's Bride, I'm currently working on that right now. Thanks for listening to this video in its entirety, and I hope you have a great day.